Here is the scary part. You can have 8 years of experience, a strong salary, a senior title, and still be one bad year away from quitting or becoming replaceable. I have seen good developers leave, not because they couldn't code. And when you ask them why, they pause. And then they say something like, I just couldn't do it anymore. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly why experienced developers burn out and walk away. And more importantly, what you can do to make sure it doesn't happen to you. Let me start with the uncomfortable one. A high salary can become a golden cage. When I was earlier in my career, I thought the goal was simple: get better, get senior, earn more, relax. Cute idea. Then I watched people reach that point and become more stressed, not less. Here is what happens. Your lifestyle grows around the salary. Better apartment, better car, family plans, mortgage, private school, nice vacations. Suddenly, the job is not just a job anymore. It becomes the thing holding the entire structure together. So, even if the work starts killing your brain slowly, leaving feels impossible. Simple example. Imagine a kid goes to school with a small backpack. Easy. Then, every year, somebody adds more books. One book is salary, one is mortgage, one is reputation, one is I'm senior, I should handle this. At some point, the kid is still walking, but only because stopping would be embarrassing. That is a lot of experienced developers. I ran into this mentally when I realized I was not only choosing tasks anymore. I was protecting a life that depended on the job. So I do it this way now. I try to keep my life cheaper than my salary allows. Not because I love suffering. I'm not a monk with a mechanical keyboard, but because lower pressure gives more options, and options are career oxygen. My rule is simple. If I cannot leave a bad job for 3 to 6 months without panic, I'm not free. I am rented by my own lifestyle. And that is dangerous. Now, the second reason experienced programmers quit is constant learning. And I want to be clear, I like learning. I'm in tech because I enjoy figuring things out. But there is a difference between learning because you are curious and learning because LinkedIn make you feel unemployed. When I started, you could learn a stack, get good at it, and feel stable for a while. Now everything feels like milk in the fridge. You open it and think, is this still fresh? Or did Twitter declare it legacy yesterday? Frontend changes, backend changes, cloud changes, testing changes. AI changes the way we work. Security becomes more important. Observability appears. Then cost optimization. Then architecture review. Then someone says, have you tried rewriting it in Rust? Here is the child level example. Imagine you learn to play a video game. You practice for months. You finally get good. Then the game updates overnight. The map changes, the controls change, your favorite weapon is removed. And the 20-year-old next to you already watched 3 tutorials and calls you old meta. That is programming. What I do now is I do not chase everything. I use a 3-bucket rule. Bucket 1. Tools I use in my real projects. Bucket 2. Tools that are clearly growing in my market. And bucket 3. Cool stuff I can ignore for now without guilt. In my projects, I go deep on the things that affect my work. Architecture, debugging, testing, databases, performance, security basics, and now AI-assisted development. I do not need to become an expert in every shiny framework. I need to stay dangerous in the fundamentals and current in the tools that matter. That mindset saved me from a lot of panic learning. Because panic learning feels productive, but usually it is just anxiety wearing glasses. Burnout is one of the biggest reasons experienced programmers quit. And the nasty part is this: from outside, burnout can look like laziness. You answer slower, you care less, you avoid hard tasks, you stop suggestion improvements, you still know how to solve the problem, but your brain says, no, thank you, we are closed. I had moments where I looked at a ticket and thought, I know exactly what to do and I still do not want to touch it. That scared me more than not knowing the solution. Because not knowing is normal, not caring is the alarm. Simple example: give a child a tablet with 5% battery. The tablet still works, the screen is on, the game opens. But if the battery hits zero, it doesn't matter how expensive the tablet is, it is just a shiny rectangle. Experienced developers become shiny rectangles. Good salary, good title, zero charge. What I do now is watch for early signs. If I stop reading code carefully, that is a sign. If every meeting makes me angry, that is a sign. If I keep opening the same pull request and doing nothing, that is a sign. If I fantasize about becoming a goat farmer, even though I have never touched a goat, that is also a sign. My practical rule: I fix burnout before I deserve a vacation. I reduce commitments, I block focus time, I stop taking every urgent thing personally, I tell people earlier when my capacity is full, and I try to have a life outside code. I know, controversial, but if programming is your job, hobby, identity, social life, and emotional support animal, burnout is not a surprise. It is the invoice. Here is another reason experienced programmers quit. They become senior enough to stop programming. Nobody says it like that, of course. They say, we need you in the architecture thing. Then the planning meeting, then the stakeholder call, then the alignment session, which is usually a meeting about why previous meetings didn't align. I have had weeks where I wrote almost no code, and the weird part is I was busy the entire time. That feels wrong when you became a developer because you like building things. Simple example: imagine a chef who loves cooking, then the restaurant promotes him. Great news! Now he spends all day in meetings about menu strategy, kitchen capacity, plate color, and soup roadmap. At some point, he asks, wait, do I still cook? That happens to programmers. What I do now is protect maker time like it is a production database. I block deep work on the calendar. I ask, do you need me in this meeting or can I review the notes? I push for written decisions when possible. And when I am in a meeting, I try to make it useful. Clear decision, clear owner, clear next step. If a meeting has none of those, it is not a meeting. It is a paid podcast with worse audio. The goal is not to avoid all meetings. Senior developers need communication. The goal is to stay close enough to the code that your skills do not rot while your calendar looks important. Because the market pays for people who can create value, not just attend value discussions. Now let's talk about AI. This is the part where some people get angry in the comments. So, hello comments, welcome. I use AI tools. I use them a lot. Cursor, ChatGPT, code assistants, a lot of it. But I also understand why experienced developers feel weird about it. For years, the value was I can create code. Now, the value is shifting toward I can define the problem, guide the AI, review the output, catch mistakes, test properly, and integrate safely. That is still engineering, but it feels different. Simple example. When you give a calculator to a child who understands math, they solve faster. When you give a calculator to a child who does not understand math, they confidently type nonsense and get nonsense faster. AI is the same. It makes strong developers faster. It makes weak developers confidently run at scale. My rule is I let AI write drafts, but I own the result. In my projects, I use AI for boring boilerplate, test ideas, refactoring suggestions, explaining unfamiliar code, and generating alternatives. But I do not let it replace my judgment. I still read the code. I still run tests. I still think about edge cases. I still ask, what breaks when this meets real users? The scary career risk is not AI itself. The scary risk is becoming the developer who refuses to use it, or the developer who uses it without understanding anything. Both are fragile. I want to be in the middle, faster because of AI, still valuable because of experience. That is the game now. The more experience you get, the more invisible work lands on you. When you're a junior, your job is usually clear. Take ticket, write code, ask questions, learn. When you are a senior, the work expands like CSS when you touch one div and suddenly the whole page moves. You think about architecture, production incidents, security, mentoring, code reviews, hiring, deadlines, tech debt, weird legacy services nobody wants to admit still exist, and because you can handle things, people give you more things to handle. That is the trap. Simple example. Imagine a family goes shopping. The youngest kid carries one small candy bag. The oldest kid carries water, bread, potatoes, cleaning supplies, and somehow a watermelon. Why? Because he is stronger. That is senior engineering. What I do now is make invisible work visible. I write down what I am doing. I tell my manager when reviews, mentoring incidents, and planning are consuming the week. I ask what should be there prioritized. This sentence helps me a lot. I can do A or B well this week. Which one matters more? That sentence sounds simple, but it changes the conversation because everything is priority. Then priority is just decoration. And I do not want to quietly carry 10 invisible jobs until I quit and everyone says, wow, we didn't see that coming. Of course they didn't see it, it was invisible. The last reason experienced programmers quit is meaning. And I know this can sound dramatic. We are not digging wells by hand. We are centering buttons, moving JSON around, and occasionally asking why Kubernetes hates us personally. But meaning still matters. After enough years, money solves the money problem. That is real. I respect money. Money is useful. Money buys food, rent, safety, and very necessary keyboard switches. But money does not answer. Do I care about this? And when the answer becomes no for too long, quitting starts to look logical. Simple example. Imagine a child loves Lego. They build castle, rocks, robots, then someone pays them very well to build the same gray wall every day. At first they are happy. Wow, I get paid for Lego. After a few years, they whisper, I hate the wall. That is what respective, meaningless work can do to programmers. What I do now is not wait for meaning to magically arrive from the company. I try to create it in 3 ways. First, I connect my work to real users. Even boring software helps somebody save time, avoid mistakes, or do their job. Second, I keep learning skills that make me proud, not only skills that make recruiters happy. Third, I build or teach outside work when the job itself is too dry. That is one reason I make videos like this. The point is not that every job must be your life purpose. So, why do experienced programmers quit despite high salaries? Because salary does not protect you from burnout. It does not protect you from becoming outdated. It does not protect your love for the craft. And it does not automatically give your work meaning. Here is the checklist I use for myself. I keep my lifestyle below my income so I have options. I learn selectively, not emotionally. I protect deep work. I use AI, but I do not outsource my brain. I make invisible work visible, and I look for meaning before I hit crisis mode. If you do those things, you become much harder to replace. Not because you know every framework, because you stay useful when the industry changes. You stay calm when the job gets messy. And most importantly, you stay in the game without burning yourself to ash. If this hit a little too close to home, tell me in the comments. I really want to know what part of programming feels most dangerous to you right now. Burnout, AI, meetings, learning, or anything else. And if you want more honest videos about software development, careers, and staying valuable in tech, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.